Hello everyone, the 2024 World Championship match is underway between defending champion Liren Ding and challenger Domaraju Gukesh. This is the 9th game, and the result was 4-4 before that, with 1 win for each competitor and 6 draws. Gukesh was white here, and usually when he is white the matches are interesting with lots of twists and unexpected plays. Interestingly, both non-draw matches were played when Gukesh was white. Let's see what happened in this game. Gukesh, as we said, was white and opened with d4. Ding played knight f6, c4, e6, g3, a Catalan opening. Bishop b4, bishop d2, bishop e7, bishop g2, d5, then knight to f3. Both players do a kingside castle, c6, queen c2, knight d7, and here Gukesh plays a rarer move. Bishop to f4 is the most common move here, but he plays rook d1. b6, followed by yet another unexpected and rare move from Gukesh in bishop c3. Liren here plays bishop b7, then after knight d2, there was a possibility of a b5 move here with later b4 binding the bishop, but white could still defend and develop after that. Hence Liren played queen c7, rook c1, rook f8, b4, c5, then an exchange, and now queen b2. Putting the queen on an open line, here the most logical move is rook b8, but after that the board would look something like this. Because Gukesh would want to protect the black diagonal. And if the center opened instead, Gukesh here would have rooks at the c and d lines to attack. Those were his ideas for playing that move. But Liren plays knight b6, a5 to bind the knight, dc4, then Gukesh takes with knight to c4, and now an interesting move from Ding in knight to c4. It exposes an attack on his own queen, but attacks Gukesh's queen as well. Trading the queens isn't ideal for white, because after bishop takes the rook, black here would have 2 pieces of advantage for the cost of 1 rook, which is a much better trade for black than for white as we know. Now his rook hangs. If he moves it, the knight falls. If he takes the bishop, the knight retreats. If he takes the knight first, then they trade bishops, and black takes at d4. Black would be in a lot of advantage, with both 2 figures and a pawn. If Gukesh would take with the rook instead, queen a5, queen b7, queen a2, queen e7, queen c4, knight e5 to attack both the queen and the e7 square. Queen takes at e2 check. When the king moves, bishop f3 defends the rook and attacks the queen. When the queen moves to a2, protecting the pawn at e6, Gukesh takes the rook, and when Liren takes, rook c1. White would be better here, but Liren plays f3 immediately. Gukesh takes at b6 with tempo, a b6, bishop f3, rook a6 defends the hanging pawn, queen b5, Liren takes at a2, knight b6, the c5 pawn is tied here due to the rook. Ding plays queen a7. Now it looks like the white can take the pawn, but after exchanging the rooks on the d line, rook a5 will get the pawn back. White plays queen b1, rook b8 binds and attacks the knight. Now Gukesh takes the pawn, rook a6, queen b5, bishop c5, queen c5, queen b6, and the trading queens, rook c6 and an exchange of rooks, g5 opens the king, and this is an obvious dead game now. King g2, rook b2, king f1, king g7, h3, h5, rook a1, rook c2 attacks the bishop, bishop b5, rook c5, bishop d3, knight d7, f4, then they trade, rook c3, king f2, knight c5, the bishop is threatened, which Gukesh defends with e3, Liren does another exchange, rook c2, king f3, rook d2, rook a3, king g6, rook b3, f6, rook a3, king f5, Gukesh checks, e5, fe5, rook d3 check, when the king moves rook h3, f6, king f6, and this is an obvious draw now. King g3, king h2, king g6, rook b5, rook g5, exchanging the rooks, king h3, Liren here retreats and allows Gukesh to take the last pawn, and the game ends in another draw. The score is 4.5 to 4.5. If you like this match analysis, make sure to leave a like on this video, share it with a friend, comment your thoughts and subscribe to our channel, as it helps us deliver more quality chess content for you to enjoy. Have a nice day and see you in the next one.